Good afternoon. We'll just give a moment to clear the waiting room and make sure that folks have connected to audio.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is an administrative hearing before the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing. Today is Wednesday, June 7th, 2023. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. We are joined today by the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing, Kathleen Joyce, and Director of Operations, Rebecca Fu. I will read today's agenda item into the record. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the applicant. We will then make a brief presentation regarding your proposal, followed by questions by the Entertainment Division and testimony beginning with elected officials or their representatives. Please limit your testimony to 2 minutes and please state your name, address, and affiliation, if any. The item before the Entertainment Division on today's agenda is Tall Ship Restaurant LLC, doing business as the Tall Ship, located at 1 East Pier Drive in East Boston. The application is to maintain and operate the non-live and live entertainment categories consisting of audio device, widescreen TVs, disc jockey, dancing by patrons, karaoke, instrumental and vocal music up to 5 performers each, exhibition trade show, and fitness classes until 10 p.m. for 7 days a week. Who's present on behalf of the applicant?
Thank you, Attorney Green, Executive Secretary Green, Executive Director Joyce, and Director of Operations Fu, Leslie Delaney Hawkins with the law firm of Prince LaBelle Tai on behalf of the applicant. Charlie Larner, who is the owner, operator, and manager of record of the Tall Ship, is with us as well.
And this is Charlie Larner with Navy Yard Hospitality Group for representing Tall Ship Restaurant LLC.
Thank you. And if it is appropriate, we'll give a brief overview of what we're proposing today, and then happy to answer any questions.
That would be great.
So thank you. As the executive director and this team is well aware, the Tall Ship is a kind of live entertainment, but limited restaurant and event space located in East Boston that's been operational since 2021. Because at the time, the right to occupy the premise via Massport was on an incremental basis, based on all of our conversations, this establishment operated on a series of special 1 days for both non-live entertainment and live entertainment. Recently, the Tall Ship Restaurant LLC entered into a 5-year right to occupy the premise with Massport, at which time, based on conversations both with this office, as well as the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services and the elected officials, it seemed prudent to have a discussion about a permanent live and non-live entertainment license. One of the things we want to be very clear about is that in no way are we looking to change the programming at the Tall Ship. This is simply for administrative purposes, both for predictability on the part of the operator, this office, the district captain's office, and for the neighborhood. We're still happy to provide lists of the events as we're moving forward. Again, this is more administrative in nature. We did reach out and hold an abutters meeting sponsored by the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, and we appeared before the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association at 2 meetings to further discuss this proposal and obtained their approval. As I know this office is well aware, having reviewed all of these applications, the live entertainment is sporadic and ceases at 10 p.m. Additionally, a lot of the programming is for community events, whether it is fitness classes, movie nights, or special events for neighborhood organizations. Charlie has significant experience operating not just here, but in other mixed-use, densely populated areas. So he's well aware about the delicate balance between having a restaurant or live entertainment venue and the quality of life of our neighbors and our visitors. Charlie's not looking to change anything about the way that we operate. I think that it is important to note, and Charlie can get into further detail, but that this establishment does very closely monitor the sound, especially considering the fact that we are so close to residential establishments. Charlie has a program where the readings are taken on the decibel level every hour in 3 separate locations around the property, and they're locked just to ensure that we're adhering to all of the requisite regulations around the sound. We have had extensive conversations with the community. Obviously, the largest concern was that there was going to be a significant change in operations here, and that's not what's happening. This is simply for predictability. And one of the points that we discussed with the community is that with an annual license, there's obviously continued inspections and the ability for the city to review that license should there be any issues, just as you can do with 1 days, but this also just provides predictability for everyone involved. The dates, just so that we have it on the record, our abutters meeting was held on November 29th of last year. We met with the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association on January 9th and February 13th. We have also met with District City Councilor Gabriella Coletta on November 28th of 2022. Massport has been supportive of this request. And again, we want to emphasize this is not a change to operations. This is just simply to codify what the existing programming is. Charlie, before we ask if there's any questions, do you want to add anything?
The only thing I'd add is I'm going to add some clarification on what we're doing to manage sound decibels. As we know, the city ordinance for the times we're operating is 70 dBs. I noticed that in this neighborhood, if we go above 60, it's an issue. So we try to monitor this at the high 50s on the street, on a pier next door, around the property line. So every 30 minutes, we have security that we have a logbook. We're logging the decibel readings every 30 minutes from a few different devices that read decibel levels. And with that being said, we haven't had many complaints with regards to sound and noise. We notice that it does happen though when there is a complaint. It's normally when there'd be a band, but as long as we maintain that level, we usually have no issue. So that's what we've been doing, and we don't do anything. There'll never be anything after 10 p.m. at night.
And it's also worth noting, because of where this where the tall ship is situated in terms of our abutters, there was only one legal abutter. That being said, we did provide the legal notice to the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, as well as all of the elected officials in the Neighborhood Association, just for full transparency.
Thank you. Anything further before we move to questions?
I don't believe so, Charlie.
Nope.
Executive Director Joyce, Director Fu, any questions for the applicant?
Thank you, and thank you for that explanation of the process and the sound monitoring. So for the sound monitoring, is it something that you can control remotely, or do you have to go over and how does that work with you? Do you get notified if it's above 60 or 70? If someone calls and complains, like what's the real-time response?
So if someone calls and complains, we have a number for anyone in the neighborhood to be calling us directly. As soon as that happens, we are monitoring all the sound levels immediately, and we're turning everything down, to resolve an issue. In the past, in the past over 2 years, we've had one noise complaint, which happened to be a few weeks ago, or about a month ago. But in over 24 months, we've only had one noise complaint, which we addressed, and I've been in contact with that one individual to make sure that we aren't bothering him in any way.
Okay, that's very helpful. I think the 24-hour contact and the ability to respond in real time is helpful, especially in this neighborhood. So in the programming is going to be the same as it has been?
Yes, we're not changing any of our programming.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Rebecca, do you?
Yes. So if you can provide us with the phone number, the 24-hour contact after, and then do you guys plan on using any type of promoters, or is it all internal?
No, everything we do is internal. We don't use any promoters.
Okay, and then is there a cover charge ever?
There is occasionally cover charges based on if there is a live band, but on a regular basis, there's not a cover charge requested.
Well, hold on. Let me stop that. We do. we sell tickets to to very limited acts. There will be ticket sales that they do on their own, and those would be the only times that there'd be a cover charge. That would be playing.
Okay.
That would be happening.
And again, we're not moving from having sporadic bands. It's still going to be to a regular occurrence. It's still going to be the same programming.
Okay, and then what is the capacity for the tall ship area? I guess on the ship and off on the pier.
So the capacity is broken down by Director Fu, to your question. It's broken down on its actual license. So let me just pull this up. The total capacity is 1,200, with 800 being the maximum on the, 1,000 being the maximum on the pier and 200 being the maximum on the boat.
Great. And
Director
then,
Fu, I just saw your email that you sent just asking for updated floor plans, which we can absolutely provide.
great. And then the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association meeting, can you just explain what kind of issues were raised? I was just looking at the votes and it seemed like there was a lot in favor, some opposed. So we just want to know what occurred.
Yep. So there were two meetings. The first was an introductory meeting where we simply presented what it is that we're proposing. The second was questions that had been received and a discussion regarding what this proposal looks like moving forward. A lot of the questions were around whether this is changing what the operations are. Sound monitoring, there were questions about unrelated to the entertainment, but talking about the parking and vehicular traffic. And Charlie and his team have actually worked proactively with Massport and the Boston Transportation Department to work on installing signage, which they have done in this area to help direct with the traffic through. Those were the main questions. The most, I think, on point being whether this was a change in the current programming.
Okay, great.
I just wanted to give you guys the phone number.
Okay,
To put it on the record, the phone number is 617-307-7714, and that's the line if there's any issues. It goes directly to a manager at the Tall Ship. And then we also have an email address if someone does not want to call, which is info@tallshipboston.com.
great, thank you. I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll open it up to testimony at this point. Are there any individuals who would like to testify on this matter?
Good afternoon, all. Sebastian Parra from Councilor Coletta's office. As Leslie mentioned, they have met with Councilor Coletta as well as JPNA, and based on what we heard from the community, based on JPNA's favorable vote, the council would like to go in support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It does not appear that there are any other individuals wishing to provide testimony. So with that, the Entertainment Division will take this application under advisement, and the Executive Director will issue a written decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That will
Thank
address
you.
hearing. Thanks, everybody.